We get officially started. Coach Borino with you on this lovely Tuesday, talking about how to get more leads, get more listings, help more clients, become a successful real estate rock star. We do this live every Tuesday at noon Eastern time here on Rockstars. And the way it works is we chat, you post questions, I answer them, I give you tips, I inspire you. So off you are running. Ending year strong, which is the idea. Ending it on strong. So if you have any questions, just post them in a comment. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you as we go along. But I want to start with this one. This is from Paula. So let me enlarge it a little so you guys can see. Let's get into it. Paula says, one of those sweet and sour satisfaction moments. Seller decides to list their property with a different agent and it is still sitting on the market. 1 year later, I tried to tell you Zillow was wrong, but what do I know? It's one of those bittersweets like, yeah, see fuckers, see, I told you so, I told you so. There you are, sitting on the market a year later. Not sold. But I wanted to illustrate what Paula is bringing up. There are several issues, if you will, with that. Several things I can point out so you can avoid making some mistakes. Now, this is by no means attack or criticizing Paula. She's doing the best she can, and I know many of you are. But let me point out some things that will help you not get stuck, help more people, decipher quickly what's going on so you don't get in a situation like that. You ever had a client who says, yeah, but Zillow says my house is worth 100,000 more, so that's what we're gonna get, that's what we must have. Has it ever happened to you? The bad boy Zillow fucks things up for you, right? Been there, done that, correct? Yeah, so let's talk about it. What's going on? I'm gonna give you a few things that are really going on. Few problem areas that you must address in the way you run your business, the way you think set up, the way you communicate, the way you position yourself. The problem number one is the problem of authority. You have positioned, or Paula, in this case, I'm going to use the specific case to illustrate my point, but Paula has positioned herself as less of an authority than a big website. And that's a big issue. That's a big problem. People will take the Zillow word, the gospel according to Zillow, versus yours. Big issue. So the problem there is twofold. The positioning of authority happens on two fronts. One is, of course, trust. The good old-fashioned trust. They simply believe Zillow is right and you're wrong. You want to give the house away, they don't believe you. And that can be driven by greed, it can be driven by not being ignorant, not understanding how the market works, all of that stuff. What triggers it doesn't matter, but the problem is trust. If you run into these kind of issues, always revisit the issue of trust. Because if the client likes you, if they like you, trust you, and respect your opinion, respect the numbers you're quoting them, it doesn't matter what a website says. If your word is against the website and you have more trust and authority, you will always win. And the second is competence. Now, maybe you are competent, maybe you're not. Maybe you're a rock star, maybe not. Doesn't matter. The issue is not, are you competent? Get ready for this. The issue is, are you perceived as competent? That means, do you know the market well enough? Can you speak intelligently without overwhelming the seller? See, the problem is not intelligence or data. The problem is not the numbers themselves. The problem is emotions that triggers those numbers. Lack of trust, lack of perceived authority, lack of competence. It's always going to come down to emotions. Just like if they like you, trust you, and respect you, what is those? Emotions, yes, they will justify with logic, but it's not a logical decision, it's an emotional decision. So always address these. When you come across as an authority, someone who can be trusted but is liked, who's not an asshole, who has enough respect and who has enough competence, that means you know market inside out, you know what you're talking about, you will win. You will win. Second problem, qualification or lack thereof. Now, I don't mean yours. Qualification. How you qualify the client. Here's the thing. If you have a seller prospect, and that prospect tells you, let me back up a little. What's going to come down to is one word. Can you guess what it is? Motivation. Paula didn't determine the seller's motivation. She didn't decipher what is really going on. So once you establish trust, competence, and authority, the holy triangle, You must determine what is it that they want to do, how bad do they want to do it, what is driving them, and what's holding them back. Because here is what I know from experience. If there's a conflict between the words your clients say and the actions they take, actions will always, always reveal the true intentions. So what do we know in this case? Overpriced listing, not sold a year later. Are you getting it? So what does that tell you about their motivation? So here is a question you always need to have an answer to. Let's say I sit down with a client, we have a chat, authority has been established, they trust me, they like me, there's competence there. I would ask, well, Susan, let me ask you a question. What if the house doesn't sell in 6 months? Would that be a problem? And I'm not only looking for the answer, the logical answer, which is important, but I'm also looking for the emotion behind it. The more intense the emotion, the more the idea of not selling either scares them or deflates them, then I know I have high motivation, high core drive and emotion, and high intensity of that emotion. Are you with me so far? Does it make sense? Very, very important, because the only thing worse than not having listings is to have overpriced, shitty listings with not motivated sellers who just sit on the market, because that drains your energy, that drains your resources, that zaps your enthusiasm, that makes you look bad, because you have a sign out there that advertises, look, I couldn't get the job done in 6 months or a year or whatever. And you lose the passion for the business, because people like that are like vampires. They take away your joy of this business, not to mention the opportunity. Because nobody's going to win when the listing is overpriced. The seller sure won't. You won't. You don't get paid. The buyer's agent cannot sell the property. The buyers cannot buy it because it's overpriced. Everybody loses, not to mention dozens and dozens of people who would participate, contribute, and profit from the transaction. You know what I mean? So always qualify the seller. Do not sit down for a listing appointment until you're very clear how qualified are they. Now, usually the low status, incompetent agents, nervous agents, scarcity mind agents get qualified by the seller, which is fine. Seller needs to be comfortable with the agent as well. But it's the agent's job, just like it's the doctor's job. I was on the phone last week with my tax accountant, with my CPA firm, asking a whole bunch of questions because we're preparing we're changing something. We're going from one corporation to another or something like that. Goes to show you how much I know about this shit. But there was a series of questions that I had to answer. When you meet with your attorney, when you meet with your doctor, when you go to a dentist, when you get your eyes checked, any type of professional will have a series of questions. How do you qualify your sellers? What hoops do they have to jump through? What answers do they have to provide in order for you to decide, I can help these people, I want to work with these people, or not? Now, I tell you where the problem arises. If you have one listing appointment a month, of course you're going to be desperate. Of course you're going to be needy. Of course you're going to cling to those sellers. And God forbid you ask a couple of important questions. But if you have 1 or 2 appointments line up every week, if you prospect high probability leads, if you do what I tell you to do, if you follow my instructions and you get a bunch of appointments, if one is an asshole or they're not qualified, they're nice people, but they just don't have enough drive to move, they're not motivated, you simply thank them, shake the hand, smile, and walk away. But you must know where you stand. So qualification, important. How you communicate, the questions you ask. Very, very important. Next, the actual presentation, the actual listing presentation. And I actually spelled it right, I think, didn't I? I did. Ha! Yeah! See, if you do a good job establishing authority, building trust, building connection and competence, then you qualify the seller. You already established you're a professional in control. Then this becomes the easiest part. This is a social interaction. This is just to determine the little details, walk them through the process, certify that they're in the right hands, they're making the right choice. Bam, done. And there's a very little discussion about price. Why is that? Because me, as the competent authority, will clearly establish that the seller does not set the price. It is not up to the seller. The seller cannot decide what the house is going to sell for. And they need to understand it. Now, I do it with authority. I do it with empathy. I do it with emotional intelligence. I don't want to insult them, or I don't want to ruin the opportunity to get the listing clearly. But they also need to know that they can't just put a number out of their ass based on how much they owe or what the house they're buying for how much they need in order for them to buy another house. None of those figures matter. How much they paid for the house 10 years ago? Irrelevant. The only number I am focused on during my presentation is what the buyer is willing to pay. That's it. But me, as a competent expert, will know that number. I'll be very close. That's part of my core expertise, is to understand the market well enough to say, your house is going to sell for about $497,000. It's going to take about 45 days. That's the average range of a well-priced, clean home in our neighborhood like yours that's going to go for. And here are the marketing steps we're going to take, including a couple of the repairs that I would recommend we do before we put the property on the market. Then we're going to stage it, we're going to clean it up, it's going to look sharp, boom. We should have a good solid contract on the table a little over a month. Instant authority, no bullshitting. And then the seller will decide, do we want to stay, do we want to go? That's really the only decision they have to make. Not about the numbers. The numbers need to make sense, obviously, but they will not determine what the house is going to sell for. You and I know that. You as a listing agent don't control the price. Yeah? So these are the things you got to focus on. And then the number 4, of course, you got to bump up your lead generation game. Because you will encounter people who are not motivated. You will encounter difficult people. You will encounter people who will be stuck on Zillow. And I'll give you some practical words and communication you can use when this happens. But it's the least important part. Because if you have the lead generation systems in place, 4, 5, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 good funnels that generate good quality, high probability leads, where you don't have to spend a lot of money buying leads, you simply prospect and generate leads through your marketing and your prospecting and maybe some advertising like on Facebook, you're all set. So you're never stuck, you never get attached just to one. Are you with me? This is essential. This is your lifeline of your business. You want to make more money, fix this first. That's the first and foremost thing. That's 10 of you, and I'm really looking forward to it, are coming to DC. You're doing the war room with me. 2 intense days. Guess where we're going to spend quite a bit of time? On your lead generation systems. And they must be systems, step by step. So you know what step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, 6, 7. What the steps are. And if it's not producing the dollars, which is the way you measure it, we're going to evaluate all these steps and fix them. No big deal. Does that all make sense? So, let me recap. Be the authority there. Be the authority. Take charge. That requires competence, confidence, good communication. Trust, number 1 issue. We're going to go multimedia, full color on you, HD, broadcasting to the world. This is where usually the breakdown occurs. If they trust Zillow then more than they trust you, you got some fixing to do. Lucy, you got some fixing to do. And you do it with competence. The way you're perceived. Then qualification. Walk them through a 10, 15-minute qualification process. I teach it to all the time. It's part of the path too. How do you qualify a client? They have the right to qualify you. They have the right to feel comfortable with you. You must do the same. You must know about their situation. How can an agent competently decide whether somebody is a client that they can help them without understanding completely what they're trying to do? How soon? Timelines, realistic, property, situation, money, all that stuff. So this is critical. You must know their motivation. You must know their core driving emotion. What is it really that drives them? Then the actual presentation. You got to be A game. Your listing presentation today is more important than ever. Because the days when people interviewed 5, 6, 7 agents are gone and they're never coming back. 87% of the sellers interview 2 agents max. You know what I mean? 8 out of 10 sellers talk to 2 agents, pick 1. So you must deliver a rockstar presentation to get to that point. That also boosts up your confidence. Be honest about the price. But you do it in a format where you guide them through the process, where you don't just dump it on them. That's what the Presentation Plus is all about. Where you walk them through a process. They arrive at the same conclusion at the end that anybody else would. This is what the property is going to sell for. It is not about what the house is worth. Maybe worth a lot more, a lot less, doesn't matter. It is what it's going to sell for. You know the number, you communicate it to them with confidence and empathy, with heart. And then have systems in place, lead generation system in place. So you have plenty of these leads. You have plenty of appointments. You don't have to worry about one. Is that helpful? That's how you troubleshoot it, my friends. That's really what's going on. Now, as far as the Zillow issue itself, it will come up once in a while. But to handle it is the easiest part. Because by then, my authority has been established. I qualify them as motivated sellers. They trust me. They know I'm competent. I'm doing a great job presenting. I understand it's a social bond interaction. It is not about presenting a whole bunch of numbers and charts. You're going to just overwhelm them. They go cold. You lose them. It is about a relationship built on trust. So when the issue does come up, I would even call it out. And I would say, you know, there'll be other agents They may have different opinions about the price, and they usually have it for one of two reasons. Why? They may not know the market well enough. That's a possibility. I don't know. I don't want to put anybody down. I'm definitely not knocking my competition, but that is the case once in a while. The second is they want to tell you the numbers you want to hear in order for them to get the listing. Whether the property sells or not, they don't care a whole lot. What they're hoping for is stick their sign up, pick up a couple of buyers, sell them another home, make money, and you're stuck here in cold. And that's not fair to you. So I want to be honest with you, and that's what you expect me to be, isn't it? So here's where we are. And I walked them right through the very simple steps to understand how the price is determined. But I keep the emotion engagement. I don't want to load up a lot of data on them, a lot of facts, a lot of numbers. That would be counterproductive. That would not help anyone. And I would say you may go on Zillow, which many intelligent sellers do their research. Bravo if you did that. That's smart. That's a really good move. And it's kind of confusing. If the Zillow tells you it's worth $100,000 more, how does that work? Well, unlike Zillow, I'm here. I previewed the property. We chatted. It is my goal to sell the house for as much money as possible. For nothing else, my commission would be higher, obviously. But that's not really the main reason. The main reason is I want you to put as much cash in your pocket as possible, because they will accomplish several things. Among them, I will have a happy client, which is my ultimate goal. You sending me that lovely postcard from Florida that you settled, that you're happy. You spending time with your kids, enjoying the Thanksgiving that you're dreaming about. You having the lifestyle and the life of the freedom you always wanted. That's our goal. And I know how to make it happen. Would you like to make that a reality? Confident, competent, well communicating, connected with them, giving them options. I never pressure them. This is not about influencing anybody in a way where you have to arm twist them and put a gun to their head. None of that is necessary. They always have the freedom to say no. They always have the freedom to say we'd rather go with that agent. But the difference is now they understand. Now they feel the difference between what the Zillow is telling them, why the other agents are misleading them, why am I being honest? Now, I can only do that. Here's the catch. There is a catch to all this. I can only do that authentically. I can't fake it. That means, one, I have to be confident. Two, I have to be competent. I need to know what I'm talking about. Genuinely connecting with them. And lastly, I'm not attached to the outcome. If we don't click, if I feel like this is a lost cause and I can't help them and they're really stuck on that number and that other agent is their choice, I will simply smile, shake their hand, and walk to the next one. Why? Because I have systems in place where I know, oh, a couple days later, I have another listing appointment and I will get that one. All I need is one listing a week to have a good, comfortable lifestyle. Now, many of you do more, and I applaud you. That's awesome. But if you can do one listing a week, list 50 properties in 50 weeks, wouldn't that be good? It's within your reach. It's doable. You don't have to buy a bunch of leads, invest thousands of dollars in systems and marketing and advertising. You don't have to do that. If you have the money and resources for it, fantastic, but that's an add-on. Start with what we always talk about, high probability leads. That's the secret, my friends. So tell me if this is helpful. Yes? Hey, Manny, what's going on? Pretty's here? No labor on Labor Day. No work. I was boat weekend mostly. Zach, good for you. Chilling on a boat. I love that. Good for you, amigo. All right. Let's see. Do we have any comments? No comments, no questions. So tell me now, what do you have to do? Ask yourself this question. What do I have to do to fix these four? Where is the biggest problem? Now, some of you I know personally. Some of you I've had a chance to work with personally, met in person in one of my workshops. Some of you are coming to DC, which is going to be really awesome. Some of you I never met, never interacted with. Some of you have my systems or are my students on Path. Some of you are not. It's all good. But if I were to guess, without actually going over your business, spending some time analyzing where you are, who you are, what your marketplace is like, what your goals are, all that, I would troubleshoot right here first. Evaluate your lead generation first. Evaluate the systems you have in place that secure good quality leads. That's the first thing. I would pop the hood and I would say, all right, show me over the last 30 days how many leads you generated and how. And you know what many agents say? I don't know. I just kind of do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I run a little ad here, and then I call this FSBO, and jack of all trades, master of none. So master 4 lead funnels. And out of those 4, pick one that has the most abundant number of leads. In some markets, it's expireds. And market is slowing down right now. Is it the same in your area? I've noticed it in my area. It's slowing down a little. The expireds will go up. Plus, you have a whole bunch of old expireds, because even in the hottest market, 30% on average properties expire, right? But this is my area. It's about 30-40% of the homes don't sell first time around. Second, FSBOs. If you have FSBOs, holy cow, that's a bonanza of listings. Just keep track and watch how many sell. But with an agent. Most of them end up listing. Third, your referral base. You need to have a system. Not annoying people. This is not going Amway on them. This is not about annoying them and bashing them and begging for referrals and being just another salesman or saleswoman. This is about having that enough trust and competence and authority there that if their neighbor, their mother-in-law, their friend, their boss wants to move, you're their logical choice because they know you, they trust you, they like you. Open houses, good open house every weekend. Cheap, you don't need anything. Few signs, promoted little door knock, pass out some flyers, that's pennies. That's nothing. Put 12, 15 open house signs out there, get 20, 30 people through an open house, you're going to pick up 2, 3 good leads out of that you can work with. Yeah? And then add another. If you have money, run some Facebook ads. Facebook right now, you can pick up some business. We actually have my man Thornwood is going to be talking to us. Travis. Travis is a rock star when it comes to Facebook. He'll give you some really cool tips of what's working right now on Facebook. It's coming up this month, right here on Rockstars. All right, my friends? Helpful? What do you think? Good. So you guys are enjoying it? Okay, so what else do you want to talk about? Elizabeth has a good question. Let me put it in the shot. Elizabeth would like to know, how do you handle a FSBO preview appointment? Obviously, their guard is already up after chatting with them and building rapport. What are some of the things to say or ask to open the door to possibly getting the listing? Excellent question, Elizabeth. Excellent, excellent question. So what do you do? Good for you, first of all, getting that little appointment with FSBO, and really all you need is 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be long. Use that simple script I gave you, very easy. Most of the time, that is a no-resistance script that works really well. Why? Because you don't mislead them, you don't bullshit them. You're honest with them. And you tell them, what do you want to do? I can send buyers your way. Why would you do that? You explain it, no big deal. So now you're with the FSBO. And you spend about 10 minutes chatting with them. You walk through the house, you ask questions. It is during that walkthrough that you want to establish a couple of things. One, of course, is to start building a relationship and trust. Yes, their guard will be up. One of the best ways to dissolve that guard is to call it. And I would tell them, it can be pretty annoying. Some of these salespeople, right? They pretend they have a buyer, they come, they mislead you. Next thing you know, they try to pitch you on listing with them. That's not why I'm here. I'm not here to mislead you. I don't even know if I have a buyer. I have potential buyers, and of course, after we finish today, I will email them the picture of the house. I will let them know. What they're going to do, of course, is beyond your or my control. But more important than that, I'm here to help. I want to help you. If you can sell on your own, it makes more sense. You want to validate. As a matter of fact, let me write this down. Let me put this on the board. Was this helpful, you guys? So far? Practical stuff. You can literally analyze where am I? What's going on in my business? Is it the authority part, or where is the breakdown? And you can fix it. So now, as you're going through the property and you're talking to them, the number one objective, of course, you build trust. You do it with few things. One, if you're relaxed, if you feel good, if you're smiling, if you're having a good time, it's contagious. See, what tends to happen is in a situation that's unfamiliar, that is sales involved. I mean, think about it last time you were shopping for a car. When you were in a car lot, we're like relaxed and happy. Were you shaking hands, smiling, taking selfies with the salespeople there? No, right? You're like, lions are trying to get me, wolves, coyotes, creatures, right? It's not a pleasant experience. It's not much fun. So it's a natural reaction. You walk into their house, they were obviously, you can read it by their body language, by their facial expression, by their breathing, by their tonality. There's all kinds of indicators of their state. I have yet to meet a FSBO who says, Borino! It's good to see you, come on in. That has not happened. I freaked our cat out. That was great. All right, so build trust. Feel good first. Be in a good state first. To break down barriers, you smile, you breathe, you have a good eye contact, you feel good. You're in that passionate, positive, upbeat state first. Very important. That also indicates your mindset. If you have good expectations, not, oh, I'm going to get a listing today. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. That's great that you're expecting good things to happen. But don't measure it by that. Measure it by, I'm going to meet something cool. I'm doing my best. I'm doing a business I enjoy. I'm helping people, and I have potential to make a boatload of money. That's all you got to do. So your state is super important. And that also includes your appearance. Make sure you look good. Make sure you play the role of a successful real estate agent. You dress the part. You look the part. The accessories and all that. Notice how I like to wear nice watches. Now, not to show off. This is not to demonstrate my wealth. But it's just part of my persona. I like the way it feels. I like these nice timepieces that some cost, small car. All right, so your state. Number 3, how you communicate. Communication. Especially the first few seconds. Because what happens in about first 4 seconds will influence what happens here later. And it can be the same day, a week later, a month later. Up here, they create a first impression about you. How they feel about you. What they think about you. Even shit like, and this is crazy, but this is just how neural wiring works, how our minds work. They will compare you to somebody you remind them of. And how they feel about their Aunt Edna, which you remind them of, will determine whether they like you or not, and possibly do business with you or not. It is not the only factor, but even shit like that goes on in their head. We're crazy. We're not logical beings. We're emotional beings. Yeah? So first 4 seconds, that greeting has to be compassion. That greeting has to be pleasant. Don't overdo it, of course. You don't want to be the annoying salesman who's like Mr. Fake. Hi! Not necessary. Sorry, Kat. But you want to be cool about it. You want to be pleasant. You want to feel good. You want to communicate confidence. Because to get an appointment and later listing here, this needs to play out well. The first few seconds of the contact, you have the eye contact with them. Make sense? All right. So now you're walking through the property and you're asking a few questions. Good for you. You guys are selling on your own. Where are you guys going to go once the property sells? Now that trick is, well, it's not a trick, but it's a neuro-linguistic programming expression called presupposition. I presuppose I'm future pacing them that the property will sell and they're going to live somewhere else. Where are you guys going to go once the property sells? Oh, we're big this lovely condo up in Colorado. We'd like to move there. We'd like to hike, ride mountain bikes. So we want to move there. Plus, my wife got a good job offer up there, so we would like to get this sold and move up. Oh, good for you. How soon would you like to be there? Well, ideally, probably in 3 months or so. Excellent. This is an important question you're going to ask. It's part of the qualifying we talked a little earlier. How long has the home been up for sale? How long has the house been up for sale? I need to determine where in the 3 stages the FSBO is. The first stage, Mr. Optimist. The second stage, Mr. Realist. And the third stage, Opportunity. Because if they've been on the market for 2-3 days, just starting out, they have a high level of optimism they're going to get it done, I would approach it slightly differently, as opposed to if they tell me, oh, it's been 3-4 weeks. We've been trying for a month. But also if they tell me, oh, we've been trying to sell for 6 months, ooh, I might have a red flag. Motivation. Okay? So those are some of the questions I go through. Now I go to a junction. And that junction is just as much about analysis and logic as it is about instinct that will tell you, are these people ready to proceed to list? Are these people, am I going to put them on a follow-up? Majority, I would say 80-90% of the time, you're going to put them on a follow-up, which is fine. That's part of the process. That's how it works. That's the way it's supposed to be. I don't want to discourage you from going for it if you really click with the seller. You build a lot of trust, a lot of authority, a lot of connection, plus you combine it with a very strong sense of urgency on their part, very strong motivation to go for the listing appointment. It's possible. So let me show you how that's done. It's called a bridge. Now, you must be very careful because you don't want to mislead the people or lie to them, ever, ever. You want to be 100% honest. So watch how it's done. So I talked to them, I said, Susan, let me ask you, what if there was a possibility that you could put at least the same amount or maybe even more cash in your pocket, even after paying a commission and listing with an agent you can trust? Would you consider it? Now, I can't promise you will, but if there was a possibility, would you entertain that possibility? Not attached to their answer, but I'm probing. Now, if the seller is motivated, and if I did right the beginning where I established authority and trust, very often they would look at me and go, well, how would you do that? How does that doesn't, how, what do you mean? That's an IOI, indicator of interest. IOI is always what I'm going for. Not a big yes, just a not flat out no. And some will say, no, we are not interested in listing at all. And that's fine. Guess what I'm going to follow up with next week? Then, of course. It's all just a noise. So I'm not too attached. But if they say, well, yeah, that would be cool. How would you do that? Or how does that work? I would say, great. Here's what we'll do. Why don't you swing by with your husband by my office tomorrow? We can meet around 4:45, have a cup of coffee, and spend maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes going over it. See if it makes sense to you. No pressure, no hassle. This is not a trick to trick you into listing. And at the end, you'll decide. Maybe listing it makes more sense in this situation, in your case. Maybe not, who knows? But once we're done, at least you know where you are, where you stand. And if nothing else, you're going to walk with plenty of good, helpful information. Tomorrow, 4:45 works? That's it. But watch, I'm passionate, I'm optimistic, I'm trying to be helpful, but not attached. Because some will say yes, some will say hell no, and some will say maybe later. And that's fine. All three are okay with me. So that's how you do it. Now, you may be wondering, well, how am I going to put more cash in your pocket? There's an entire presentation. It's not very long. It's only about 10 short slides that's part of the Borino. If you don't have it, get the system, because I will teach you exactly how to do that. Again, nothing misleading. It's just statistically, and these are stats that are nationwide and go back about 15 years. For sold by owners, net less than sellers who are listed with an agent. And there are several studies that just prove it in most cases. Now, you never promise it. You never guarantee it. You simply say, the statistics I have available show that you folks run a danger possibility that you're going to net less. And it has to do with combination of things like it's not marketed as well as listed properties. It's not shown to as many qualified buyers as listed properties. The marketing, advertising resources are not there. The negotiation resources are not there. All these things. All these things impact what the property at the end is going to sell for. So that's how you do it. That's the approach. It's not that difficult. Yes, it requires a little bit of practice. Yes, the practice must be focused on building the trust and connection first and foremost. It is not about memorizing some fancy lines. It is not about misleading the seller or doing anything fishy with them. It is about your genuine willingness to offer information and be helpful with them. That's the bottom line. Now, here's the thing. Remember those funnels here, the systems I was talking about, the lead generation systems? If you put 10, 12 for sale by owners on the follow-up system, some will list with somebody else, some will sell on their own, but some will list with you. Because they will like you, they will trust you, and they will want your help. That's the bottom line. Yeah? Was that helpful, Elizabeth? Very helpful. Okay, good. Navdeep said it was helpful as well. Excellent. Hey, Mr. Derek, good to see you. Always good to see you, sir. Lomeli says, awesome, thank you. The trick with for sale by owners, if you want to call it the trick, is number one, patience. Because some need to go through the entire experience. Some need to really get the taste of what it's like to sell on their own. There is nothing you can do or say. On contrary, the more you start pressuring, convincing, educating, the more you're going to build up resistance, because you're immediately piled up with all the other salespeople, all the other agents who are doing nothing but trying to get the listing. Now, what about me, Borino? I'm trying to get the listing. Maybe. Not only maybe, but also in a very different way. In a very authentic, high-status way. Non-salesy way. And yes, you even tell the seller, look, the reason I want to help you is, number one, if you sell on your own, fantastic. I helped somebody. That's cool. I'm not worried about money. I know money's going to come back one way or another. For a good deed, I always get rewarded. But I also know that some for sale by owners don't sell on their own or decide to explore plan B for a possibility of netting more money. If and when that time comes, maybe you and I'll sit together over a cup of coffee and chat. I would like the opportunity. But that's down the road. See what I mean? So I'm not hiding it. But I'm also saying, give it a try first, which is exactly what the seller wants to do anyway. And I'm not going to convince them at that point. If anything, I'm going to alienate them if I try. So I'm cool and helpful. And then I start deploying my follow-up. And that's a very strategically put together 18-piece follow-up that you get with the FSBO, or you get it as part of Path. So some of you are doing Path. I know Todd, Derek, you guys are my students, which is awesome to have you. So you might want to check it out, because I will teach you how to do FSBOs, how to do good presentation, how to qualify, how to build lead funnels, all of that. It's a system. It's like a real estate boot camp. That's what I call it, the boot camp 2.0, where I spend 12 months working on all this stuff. It does take time, but at the end, you're going to come out with knowing exactly what to do, having the tools in place, and getting the results you want, which may be a listing a week, maybe less, maybe more, it doesn't matter. Whatever your goal is. All right, friends? So that's the secret. Paul made a really good comment. They'll eventually get tired of all the work it takes to get results. You're absolutely right. They do get tired of it. Besides, they're not going to get a whole lot of results. Very few FSBOs sell on their own. Some sell with the help of another agent who puts it together, which is great. That's fine. If you have a buyer, you can double end it. Yay, why not? And get paid for it. That's cool. But most for sell by owners, the last statistic from the NAR, 8% of the homes sell in the US are by owners by themselves. 8%. Now, it may be different in your area, but it's not going to be hugely different. I promise you, if you do this diligently, you will discover that if you put enough FSBOs into your pipeline, into your follow-up, some will turn into good listings for you. There's no doubt in my mind. All you have to do is just follow a certain system that is built on trust building, authentic connection, where they understand that you want to genuinely help them. That's the secret. And just through repetition, you create comfort. That means you keep in touch. Every 7 days, you ping them. And not by some silly email with some bullshit market update that nobody cares about. It needs to be genuine, helpful conversation, communication, something that actually they want to know, they want to hear from another human being. Yes, you back it up with emails and direct mail, and there's all kinds of tools at your disposal. But the conversation will create the bond you need. Está bien, my friends? All right, good. So it looks like today is a FSBO day, right? So if you have FSBOs in your area, do them, work them. Find them, they're on Craigslist, they're on Zillow, they're on FSBO.com. They're all over the place. Call them, set up a short little appointment, talk to them, follow up with them. Rinse, repeat. Yes? All right. Adarsh says, and that's a very good comment, Adarsh, don't misguide FSBO. You don't have to. There is no need for you to be misleading. On contrary, the more honest and upfront you are with them, the better. It's just, I've had agents, well, don't you just call them at the beginning because you want the listing? No, how do you know you want the listing? What if the seller is a serial killer that has a fridge full of body parts? You don't want that listing, and you don't know until you sit down with them or at least talk to them who these people are. But seriously, you need to know their motivation, you need to know their situation, how realistic they are, what are they trying to do, can you help them, do you want to work with them? And that's a process. What is the process? You call them first, or you email them, depending what is the first point of contact. You go visit them, and then you follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. That's the process. And during that process, you will discover their core driving emotion, you'll discover their motivation. They will get to know that you are genuine, you genuinely want to help, and you establish, maybe down the road, you decide to interview agents, let's sit down and talk. But until then, I'm here to help. Besides, you can help me. You may get some people who come in, look at the house and say, not exactly what we're looking for. Maybe I can help them. Or you get somebody who wants to buy your house, but they want to sell theirs, and they do want to hire an agent. Maybe I can help them. So we're going to help each other out. It's all good. I don't have a hidden agenda here. Yeah? Stefan would like to know, what should I follow up with the seller with every 7 days? And should I be asking they are ready now? You should not be asking if they're ready now. What you want to follow up with, you need the FSBOrino for that. Because I built the entire library of things that you follow up with. Anything other than me, my company, I'm number one, nonsense like that. You want to put together a library of useful tips, helpful tools, something that the seller will find entertaining, interesting. FSBOrino comes with 18 pieces like that. So I can't teach you or give it to you here. We would be here for what? How many videos are there in FSBOrino? There are like 10 coaching videos where I'll break it down for you how it works. See, here's the thing. The secret is not in the follow-up piece itself. It's the psychology wrapped around it. Because it addresses their fears, addresses their well-being, it addresses their bottom line, things that resonate with them. So it's not just about this particular follow-up piece, but you need to understand, why am I sending this? Because once you understand their behavior and their psychology, building that connection is a lot easier, which is a big chunk of what I teach you in the FSBO and in the path. If you come on the path and do the path with me, you'll get the FSBO free. It's part of the whole class. So get that. If you have FSBOs you want to learn, you want to take a shortcut, I'm not here to sell you on it. I'm just offering you something that's already built for you. It's plug and play. You copy, paste, it's ready to go. Even better. This week, we're shipping the entire library to LionDisk. So if you're my path student, or if you're a FSBO student, the follow-up library, including scripts, including letters, including postcards, including everything, is built in as a sequence for you already. Everything is there. Pretty cool, right? So Mr. Dave Anderson, I don't know, Dave, if you're on here, but I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to ship it to you this week. They already have the Expired Plus. They're going to have the FSBO. Both of them will be built for you if you use LionDisk as your CRM, which you should. In my opinion, it's the best follow-up system out there. These things will already be programmed for you. Push button, go. Fire and forget. Pretty cool, right? So that's coming. Paul has a very good comment. Where do I have you, Paul? Here. We want to be a resource for them and present the way that we want to help them to get it sold. Absolutely, Paul. Absolutely. And more than just be the resource, be genuine, be authentic about it. You know how some agents, they pretend to be helpful. They pretend to be there to help, and yet underneath it all, it's desperate need to get the listing. Yes, you're passionate, of course. And yes, you want to feed your family and make money, absolutely. But you do it in a very high status, authentic, genuine way. Where if I look at what I'm doing right now, we spend usually about an hour on these live broadcasts every Tuesday. Tons of free information, tons of free resources. You can ask any question you want. To my best ability, I will answer anything. I'm not holding back anything like, oh, this information is exclusively held for my path students. I don't do that. And you get it all for free. Now, why do I do that? Number one, I want to help you. That's my number one goal. This is number one reason why I'm here. And yes, I want to tell you about my programs because I believe it is easier to spend a few $100 or come do the path with me if I can show you, if I can teach you, if I can give it to you, rather than you trying to figure it out all on your own. That's why I tell you about it. You have an option, but I would never force you. I would never say, well, unless you buy my shit, you're not going to come get my free training. I would never do that. So I walk the walk. It's the same principle. And I can tell you, I've been in real estate and doing this stuff for over 20 years. It's paid pretty well. It works pretty well. You guys seem to like it. You come every week. You get good content from me. You get good answers from me. You get practical, useful, applicable, actionable stuff. And some of you who actually put it to use, not everybody, but some of you do, you get good results with it, which makes me super happy. More than the paycheck, more than the money. But that's the secret, and some of you will come on board and become my students, and we have a relationship, and it's awesome. But some of you will not, no big deal. Same principle. But I can't fake it. I can't give you shitty advice. I cannot hold back, and I cannot just give you little bits and pieces. You would not show up back. We have one of the most visited real estate groups on Facebook. We have one of the most watched Facebook Lives. Because I have to step up and deliver. I have to prepare. I have to understand what you want, what would help you. I have to be ready to answer your questions. How do I do that? Goes back to what we talked about a while ago. I need to be the authority. I need to actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because I was where you are today. Whether you're starting out, you're struggling, or you're doing well, you want to do better. I experienced all those phases from homeless to doing well. So I know what it's like to get a door slammed in your face. I know what it's like when a deal blows up 7 days before closing that you tried to put together for 6 months. I know what it's like when your dear friend lists with somebody else. It breaks your heart. I can relate. I've been there. But I also know how to solve these things. That's my expertise, to break down something complex and make it simple for you so you can digest it, apply it, use it, and come back for more. Está bien? Stefan would like to know, how do I get that? Well, you have a couple of options there. You can get the FSBO system. That's just for FSBOs, which is cool. It's fine. Go to FSBO.com, order it. It'll come in the mail. You get a book in the mail. I don't have a copy here. I could show you. And you get online access. There are like videos you can watch with lots of good, helpful content and a download and market library. Or the second option would be if you want all of these systems, referral system, expired system, and on and on and on. And my help, where I'll walk you through it, we have live coaching, live sessions where I answer questions all the time. We have actually one coming up tomorrow. They go to goborino.com and sign up for the path, and it comes with everything. $197 a month, flat fee. That's it. No long contracts. All right, so those are the two options. Well, as the video skipped just a bunch, it might have been your connection, my dear, but if it did, sorry about that. Natalie would like to know, hi coach, are you going to give us a session on how we can use LionDisc with information you are going to give to LionDisc? Yes. We're going to have a special session. I was actually tapped to become LionDisc, kind of an in-house follow-up coach. Dave and I decided that rather than just the technology training that they do, they would like to get someone with more insight into human psychology, communication, the stuff I teach. And so I will do a lot of sessions with LionDisc for you guys, how to improve your follow-up, how to connect with more leads, get more appointments, feel good doing it so you're not annoying or pestering people. So that's coming. We are working on it. Yeah? But meanwhile, there is a good session we did with LionDisc on follow-up if you log into the Listing University, plus LionDisc is a whole bunch of stuff as well. Any advice for brand new agent? Preeti would like to know. Oh, tons. She's 3 months old. Good to have you in this crazy business. I have a good video that I would encourage you to watch on YouTube called The Things They Didn't Teach You in Real Estate School. And it is specifically, I recorded it specifically, it was a training session I did specifically for real estate agents. I can tell you from personal experience, you guys heard me tell the story before, where I started in real estate and 2 years later I was homeless. I was broke. So my advice to you is avoid the mistakes I made, and there were several. First mistake I made was I did a lot of cold prospecting, but not high probability leads. In other words, I did a lot of cold calling, a lot of door knocking, but not a lot of targeted prospecting to leads that are easiest to identify and easiest to convert. New expireds, old expireds, canceled listings, for sale by owners, referrals, open houses. I didn't do enough of those, and I struggled. That was mistake number one. When I started going after expireds and I built my system for expireds, everything changed. I ran in 10 months, turned my life around, moved into this beautiful condo, got a Mercedes, do all that stuff. So that's number one. Focus on high probability leads first. Number two is don't work with buyers. I was falsely hoping, well, if I just put these people in a house and we're going to close it in 45 days, that's a paycheck. Yay! Not so much. Don't work with buyers. And I still hear this advice, and it drives me crazy when you take a first-time buyer, inexperienced, nervous, with a little bit of money, and you team him up, pair him up with an unexperienced agent. You're asking for disaster. So don't work with buyers. Become a rockstar listing agent. Number three, be an expert. Know the market inside out. Know the business. And this is not going to happen overnight. That's why even the path takes 12 months to build your business. But at the end of 12 months, you have systems in place, you have mindset in place, you have your schedule in place, you have your communication in place, follow-up, presentation, all of that. And just like you build any other business, it's going to take a little bit of time and a whole lot of work. But if I were to start all over again, I would start with really high probability leads, motivated sellers. That would be my number one focus. And I would spend 80% of my marketing and prospecting and energy and focus on getting those leads. Helpful? So there is more, of course there is more to it. You're entering, on one hand, very exciting, very profitable business, on the other hand, very complex and challenging, very competitive business. That's why over 80% of the agents don't make it. We have a huge attrition rate. And it's not because they're not motivated or they don't work hard. They work plenty. But it's usually they work on the wrong stuff. Among them, working with buyers, not focusing on listings, not following my advice, you know, all that. And the last thing I would tell you is come do the path with me. As a new agent, I wish there was somebody like me back then when I started in 1744. You know what I mean? There were coaches, yes, but so often, and does that happen to you guys? Like you hear one advice here and then you hear complete opposite. Completely different stuff. And then you're like, what the fuck? Am I doing this? Am I supposed to do that? And it's all over the place. So what I teach you is simple. You don't have to spend money on leads. You don't have to be a schlep driving buyers around all weekend to make money. You can be a rockstar listing agent with a very profitable business. It's going to take a little time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take work and learning. But you can do that. That's what I teach. That's my expertise. And I do that by following on core leads. high probability. Now, when I say high probability finding them, high probability connecting with them, and high probability converting them. So you don't have to go through 1,000 no's to get one yes. Because I can tell you from experience, if I were to knock on 100 doors and talk to 100 people, or knock on 100 doors and talk to 100 expireds, I'll take 100 expireds because I have a way better chance. Does it make sense? So that's my advice to you. Learn as much as you can. Here's a big one. That goes for everybody, you guys. Everybody. Whether you're making 100,000, a million, 50,000, doesn't matter. Be very diligent and be very careful who you hang out with, both in real life and here digitally. Be very careful because the minds of people around you have a huge influence on you. They shape what you think, how you feel, what you believe is possible. See, let me give you an example. Once you start hanging out with people who are affluent, who do better than you, you suddenly see it's possible. You suddenly see the fruit of their labor. You suddenly get inspired and you're going to get pulled into their world. That's what happened to me. One of the things I deliberately did was I started to associate myself with people who did better than me. And this goes just as much about who you hang out on Facebook, whose posts you read, who you follow, all that stuff. Because just as these people can inspire you and lift you up, pull you into their level, if you're not careful and hang out with, let's call it the other crowd, the people who complain, the people who point out what's bad, what's wrong, what bothers them, people also who make less than you or about the same, going to pull you down. And you have to be very deliberate and cautious about the input from the environment you're getting. Very important. You know why we clean up Rockstar so often? And I appreciate all of you guys reporting posts. Please keep doing that. We don't put up with bullshit here like, I had this problem, I had this horrible client, I had this nightmare happen to me. Nobody cares. We're here to solve problems. Now, if you ask for help, that's different. But to whine and complain, just to vent, fuck that. That's nothing but bummer. That's nothing but bad energy. And now you're asking for more by giving it focus, giving it energy, and giving it attention. We don't want that. And you definitely don't want it for yourself, even if you had bad experience. And God knows there are plenty of bad experiences in this crazy business. Of course there are, I know. Probably every single one of them happened to me one way or another, at one time or another. But to make it permanent somewhere in the universe, to give it a space and give it so much energy and attention serves nobody and does nothing but attracts more of that bullshit. So do yourself a favor, be very careful what you read, who you associate with, who you hang out with, who you connect with, where you get your input from, where you get your inspiration from, because you start believing what's possible. I had an opportunity to hang out with my man Richard, who was a broker, great guy. This guy had 2 Mercedes cars, had a Rolls Royce, had a Ford Mustang collectible, 1963, I want to say. Lived in a mansion, had a condo in Palm Springs, went golfing there every weekend. Suddenly I saw what was possible. It was so inspiring to me. This guy lived a lifestyle, custom tailored suits, a beautiful Rolex, vacations with family, good life. And he took me under his wing. He kind of started inspiring me and guiding me and nudging me towards that. I still had to do the work. It was still up to me. But hanging out with Richard gave me the taste of that life I wanted and had a big influence on how it shaped my business later on. You must do the same. Now do the best you can with what you got. All of a sudden, I know it's not going to be possible for you to knock on the door and say, excuse me, I heard you made $10 million last year. I want to be your friend. It doesn't work that way. But look for opportunities to network, connect. Even like one of the things I used to do very frequently, I would take an agent who did well, got a lot of listings, successful, prosperous, and I said, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Can I take you to lunch? I'm not here to steal your ideas or anything. I just want to get inspired. I want to see what makes you tick. Would it be okay? Would love to get to know you a little better. And you'd be surprised how many of these folks living in an abundance mindset, living in the world of plenty, would say, sure, yeah, I'll share, no problem. They're cool people. See, the reason they got wealthy and prosperous in the first place is because they're cool and nice and willing to share. They live in a different world. which is the world you want to enter. So be very careful, very deliberate, and very cautious about the books you read, the stuff you watch on TV, the music you listen to, the stuff you put in your mind, and most important, the people you surround yourself. Because if you take a look at all the friends you hang out with, you take 10 people you hang out with the most, and you take their income, you average out their income, that's your income. Like attracts like. Birds of feather do flock together. Raise it up. Start looking for a different crowd. Start believing of what's possible, what's out there for you, because there's plenty. And with that, my friend, we're going to wrap it up today. Christopher, oh good. Let me show you what my man Christopher said. Borino, my book arrived a couple of days ago. Thank you so much. Great read so far. Glad you enjoyed it, Christopher. Which one did you get? What program? A lot of assets, says Minash. Yes, there's a lot of assets. You need a lot of assets. This is a multimedia business where you can't just cold call or you can't just do one thing, email. You need a lot of that. Yes. Natalie says, thank you. My pleasure. Glad you enjoyed it, Natalie. Excellent. All right, my friends. Boy, that hour goes by fast, right? When you're having a good time. Glad you enjoyed today's session. Thanks for being here today. You have a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of business out there. A lot of transactions. Go get some. Yes? Jeffrey, oh, one more real quick. Hey coach, if you join the path this fall like October, how does it work joining midstream? You can always join, Jeffrey. That's a really good question because you will always start on chapters. Especially someone like you, a lot of it will be pretty easy and you're going to fly right through it. But every 30 days, you're going to get a new chapter and it's in a sequence. Now, if you have my programs, like I believe, Jeffrey, you did the boot camp with me, you get a discount. You get 50% off because you already have the programs. It's just a matter of doing the implementation sessions, putting in place, plus you get all the updates for free. Any new program I create, any updates I release, which we plan to release next year, you will get for free as long as you're part of the path. So no matter where you jump in, you're going to start with chapter 1, then go to chapter 3. Meanwhile, you can join the live sessions because those cover almost everything from mindset to schedule to accountability, which we have every week, to setting up systems, being in situations where you need help and all that stuff. These are recorded, so you have access to the library. They're posted, you can watch them. There is always a list of topics discussed on each Q&A, and they're fun to watch. So my recommendation would be, guys, for those of you who are considering coming on Path or are doing Path with me, just block out 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes devoted to you and your business, where you, instead of just working in your business, you work on yourself, you're educating, you're absorbing, you're inspiring, you're learning something new. That's what I do. I spend 30 minutes every day educating myself, not counting the reading time. This is like watching webinars, watching videos, learning from other smart people. Yeah? So would love to have you. Jeffrey, shoot Roseanne in my office a quick email. It's info@borinoproductions.com. We'll set you up with the discount. Any one of you guys who already have my systems, you have the whole suite of systems, the Success Plus, or you've been through the bootcamp with me, reach out to us, or whatever. If you just have a question, it's info@borinoproductions.com. And then sign up for Path. Would love to have you guys. It's a good program where I'm live, I'm helping you. This is my focus this year. This is what I work on, is to help you build your business, build your system. Okay? All right, Lori says she loves the FSBO system, which is great. That makes me very happy. Excellent. All right, guys. Coach Borino, very much appreciate you being here today. I'm glad this information has been helpful. I'm glad I can touch your business, touch your life, help you, point you in the right direction, and give you practical tools you can apply in your business right now. But here's the secret. None of this stuff matters one iota. None of this is relevant at all if you just kind of like, well, that was good. That was entertaining. There were a couple of really good ideas I liked. I may do them later. Bullshit. If you don't implement at least one of them within the next 24 hours, chances of you succeeding with them go down almost to zero. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one of the things we talked about today. Pick one topic, whether it's combating Zillow or working with sellers who are not realistic or qualifying sellers or building more authority or working for sell by owners, initial contact with FSBOs, being more confident or following up with FSBOs or even coming on board. Do it today. Do it today. Don't procrastinate. Procrastination is the cancer of your business, and it will diminish your passion, it will zap your energy, and it will remove the opportunity for you to succeed at the rate that you want to succeed. And I'm speaking from experience. Yes? All right, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the day. I very much appreciate your time here today. Thanks for being here today. I'll talk to you real soon. Coach Borino signing off. Let's go get him. Bye, guys.